So today I'm going to talk about closures and why they're helpful. So the problem is this one. We have an array and we want to just show a portion of that array to the user. Let's see a visual example of what I mean. Let's say that we have this array here, 2, 3, 5, 1, 7, 4. I want to just see a portion of it. So let's say, for example, that I want to say this portion here. So I can configure the function by passing this whole array and then 3, just because that's the amount of numbers that I want to show. Okay, so what I want is I want to get a function back from the initial function that allows me to move to the right and to the left, always showing 3 elements at maximum, taking those elements from this array. So I might want to show these 3 items here, or maybe move to this for these 3 items here at the end. I'm not going to be doing something fancy like this. So whenever the window that I choose is closer to one edge or the other, just because I want to be focused on the closure aspect of the exercise. So, okay, let's see how we are going to code that. Index.js. So we have a function and we call that make window array. And this function takes as input an array and then the window length. Okay. And we know from this example here that whatever value I get back is a function. So let's write that. So this function is going to return another function. And let's also pass in a shift. So this represents how many spaces, how many places I want to move to the right or to the left. So let's focus on this structure a bit before. So we know from the rules of scoping that the inner function here can access everything that's outside of it. So it can access the outside scope. So inside this anonymous function here, I can access array and window length. So this function is called the closure, and it is called like so because it is closing over these variables. So what that means is that once this is called and this is returned, once I get a hold of this function, I can always reference to those as if they were inside this function here. So we want to return a portion of the array, so we're going to use the slice function, slice method over array, and that takes a starting position and then an ending position. So that will be start plus window length. As you can see, we don't have start, so let's go ahead and define that. So start will be starting from 0. So we know that we start from the beginning of the array. But we also want to modify start with the shift that we pass as argument to the closure. So start will be equals to start plus shift. So that's going to work regardless of whether shift is positive or negative. So with a negative shift, we're going to move to the left. With a positive shift, we're going to move to the right. Okay. So let's see this in action. Let's see how I called it before. Move window. Window equals make window array, and I'm going to pass in this. Yeah, let's just use this array here. Okay, and then whatever I used there was 4. Let's use 4. Okay. And now we have a reference to this function here, because make window has been called, and we know that make window returns a function. So this is the function. Okay, so we can call that, and we can log the result of the invocation, and let's call it, for example, on one. So let's check this out. Windows.js undefined. Yeah, of course, because I never return anything. So let's return that. And we have our array. So our array is going to start from 0 plus 1. So it's from the index 1, so here. And then it's going to go 4 positions to the right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get these. Yeah, as you can see, I get those. We can also shift more. So we can shift a couple more times. And that will still work. Yeah. And we can also go back, for example, by 2. So I go from here to here, then here, 5, then 7, and then I go back 2 places, 1 and 2. I go back here. So as you can see, the state has been preserved. The state is captured by this variable here in this example, and I'm also acting on array, but what is changing is this variable here. And what's the beauty? Oops. What's the beauty of these? So let's explore that a bit. So if I couldn't use closures, I would have to put the state outside. I would have to do something like this. Function move window, and move window accepts an array and starting position and a window length. And yeah, we don't have a shift here. It doesn't really make sense. So let's go here and yeah, and return that. So let's call this move window 2, and console.log move window 2, passing in that same array. Yeah, but I want this and this. Yeah. Move window, then it's going to have a start from 0, and then we want also the window length. So that should be 4. So let's comment out all of these, and let's see what we get. Because we started from 0. Now, if we want to start from 2, let's say I have to pass it like that. And as you can see, it's working. But what is the problem here? The problem is that I can't really have the state inside of the function and let it deal with it. I have to keep track of the state from the outside. So if I wanted to keep track of the state, I would have to define a start variable here, and then this would be start, and this is going to be start equals start plus 2. And as you can see, I am dealing with state outside. So that's not really great. And this is why closures, one of the aspects about why closures are really important features in language like JavaScript, where functions are first-class citizens, meaning that you can pass functions into other functions as arguments, and you can also return them as results of other functions. So what this allows you to do is basically configure functions. So that's all I have. I'll leave a link to MDN, Mozilla Developer Network, where there is an awesome article about closures, and you can dive deep and see for yourself. I just wanted to make a quick example of why they're useful.